Hey guys, excuse me, Wag Me Capital here, coming at you again with the watch list for January 5th. Big day, a lot of moves. Unfortunately, I didn't play them as well as I would have liked, but there was a lot of opportunity here for you guys, for people trading today. So let's check out the tickers I was watching and get into it. So let's start with the losers. I had a couple big losers, Facebook and Square. One of them, I feel like I played it right. I like the setup, just didn't break my way. And one of them was just a bad trade. Let's go over Facebook. Okay, so so the blue lines are the days put. This is the put trigger and this is the call trigger. The white line is actually the previous day's high and low because we had an outside bar. And then the purple ones are old triggers. So the white, kind of we're paying attention to, and then the blue ones are the ones we're most focused on, or I wish I would have been focused on. But let's see what happened today. So gap down at the beginning below the put trigger, climbs up, great retest here, hovers around, good retest here, great retest here, red EMA cloud. 3450 EMA cloud just flipped to red or orange, so that's bearish. Right here, I mean, all of these here, let's see if we could get all of this right here, great entry points, right at the trigger, bearish EMA cloud. It's testing with these wicks, it can't close above, could have easily taken puts and rode it all the way down. Unfortunately, I did the exact opposite. So I've been looking in and trying to learn more about inside and outside bar trading. You can see the little indicators. This is an outside bar, which means the wicks on this one, the low is lower than the previous candle's low, and the high is higher than the previous candle's high. Inside is the exact opposite. The wicks and bodies stay within the previous candle. And so how you look at these, this inside candle, what that tells me is this candle couldn't make up its mind. It didn't go down, it didn't go up, it just stayed within the range of this. So the bears and the bulls are both fighting, both going long, both going short. Neither side is winning. So how do you trade this? I can make a video on this later. Let's just do this quickly. How do you trade this inside candle? When it breaks either below the low or above the high, that kind of tells you who has won. So in this case, we look at like the 1 minute, sorry, let's go back. This one, like we had an inside bar and it actually dropped below. Okay, that was not helpful at all. I apologize, guys. Where are we? Okay, let's get back. So this inside bar is telling me, hey, whichever way we break, let's try to play it that way. It broke up, which was what I was trying to show. It broke above the high with this wick before it broke below. So eventually it did break below. So as you can see, this is O outside. So it broke below and above. But it opened here at the top of this body and went up. It broke this EMA cloud, actually broke this EMA cloud momentarily, and broke above the inside candle. So I bought calls. I thought we were going to reverse trend and keep going up. So why was this a mistake? Obviously, this was the wrong play. And this flushed, the puts would have paid big time. So how did I miss this? I think, first of all, I completely ignored this put trigger. These wicks above showing that it's testing, but eventually the bears win out and get it to close below this trigger. We cannot close a candle above this trigger. Secondly, look at this EMA cloud. This is not about to flip. This is a solid red and it's trending down pretty hard. So both of those factors tell me that this is, just a textbook put play. Like this retest right here would have been absolutely perfect to buy puts and these would have paid. I spent too much time worrying about this inside bar, and this actually candle went on to become an outside bar. So if I would have played the break on the bottom, I would have, that would have panned out. But that was just me ignoring all the signals. Both EMA clouds bearish and red. Can't close above this put trigger. Just a bad trade on my part. So I took calls once it broke here. So right here, see it breaks the wick of the previous candle. It keeps going up and then just, rides all the way down. So that was a mistake on my part. But yeah, in general, Facebook, pretty down day for Facebook. This would have been the best trade for sure. Testing the put trigger, riding the cloud down. Here's a little bit of a retest. You could have tried to find some other plays in here, maybe some inside outside bars, riding the EMA cloud. But in general, once this flushed, it flushed. Oh, here we had the outside bar from the previous day candle. You could have played. So once it breaks, so that inside outside bar philosophy I just talked to you about, same goes for daily candles. So look at this. This is an outside bar from yesterday. So if this breaks above the high, which is this white line, you take calls. If it breaks below the low, you take puts. And look, we broke the low and it flushed. So if you would have waited for that and played that on the 5 minute, that would have paid well. I was done trading by that time. But here, look, this is the beginning of the day. Right here, we break it. So if you would have taken puts and just waited for the day, so you would have had it right out. Maybe you would have stopped out here, but you could have bought again here, could have bought again here. And this, that would have paid. So playing that outside bar would have paid on the daily candle. But otherwise, Facebook, puts were the move today. So Square was my other loser. Similar fashion. So same thing. I bought calls when it flushed and puts were the move all day. I mean, this one really, really fell, even harder than Facebook, I think. So what setup did I see and how could we have avoided this? So first thing I see is all of these wicks right here. So what does that tell me? This tells me that, people were buying all from this bottom. So, gap down, kind of a flush on the first candle. And then the bulls come in and they're trying to regain ground. They're trying, they can't break this put trigger, but they're trying. The wicks are getting up here and then sellers are driving it back down. So this candle gets all the way up to, what is that? 155.25, but then it ends up going all the way back down to close to 153.32. So, the bulls are trying, they're buying, and then they keep getting pressed down. So people are shorting here, right? People are selling off at the top of these wicks. That's the only way that these candles are being driven back down and closing lower. So what does that tell me? If we can break this level right here, these short sellers and people selling the stock are going to have to, their stop losses are going to trigger. They're going to be in the red and they're going to have to sell to exit their position. So with this candle, we're testing the put trigger. We open above it. We close above it. We break these wicks. And I thought that meant we were off to the races. Look at the 513 EMA cloud. So it's red, but unlike Facebook where it was, definitely solid, thick red. Look at this. On Facebook, like this is thick red. This is not flipping anytime soon. And I completely missed that. Square is not like that. This EMA cloud it's an inflection point. It's down. It's a down slope here, but it's turning. It's flattening out. It looks like it wants to turn. It looks like it's going to flip from red to green. So right when we broke this, I bought calls. I thought we were off to the races. And that was just not how it played out. So I still, some trades just don't go your way. The Facebook was a bad trade. That's on me. I still like the setup of this. I like the idea. It didn't pan out. So I bought calls and, as you can see, this flushed down. And really just, I had to sell the calls a few minutes later at a loss. But, Facebook and Square, really popular stocks, obviously large cap. These premiums are big. They were both over $1. These stocks just move fast. So you got to have conviction. You got to get in there and make your move before, before the move is made and you miss out. But I didn't have luck with these today. So let's move on to the winners. So Bank of America, I tried the inside outside bar again. So right here, this inside bar, once we broke it, that's where I bought. And so we rode up to the to the call trigger. It rejected. I ended up selling here on the rejection, but that was, not huge gain, but nice little gain here, just playing this inside bar. As you can see, the EMA cloud, so the blue one's bullish, the red one in the background is flipping. So it's on a downslope, but it's flattening out, it's flipping, it flips here. That gives me more conviction. We never even really tested. So this first candle, it did test, right? If I bought at the break of this wick right here, this candle is where I bought and it went down, right? So I'm in the red here. What gives me conviction to hold? Until we break the bottom of this inside candle, I'm still holding. I'm still confident. This candle never got close to the bottom of this wick. And so I held, even though I'm in the red, I didn't set a stop loss. I was just looking at it. And we ended up riding out. So Bank of America, it was choppy today. It played in range almost all day. At the end, it broke out. But there was opportunity here. I bought that inside bar. You could have played the rejection of the call trigger here. That would have been a great play. Obviously, falling down here. But yeah, Bank of America was a little bit of a win for me. Didn't make up for Square on Facebook, but it was a good to get on the board with a little inside bar play here. I'm learning, still new, obviously messed up on Facebook and Square with it, but good little win at Bank of America. But again, your plays here would have probably been, this would have been your play. Rejection of the call trigger. Never got out of range. Few wicks tried, but that would have been your play to buy puts off of that. Boeing, I didn't play. It gapped up above the call trigger and was just, look at these big wicks, very choppy. Like I just couldn't get a good read on this. Wasn't making breaks either way. I just stayed away. By the time these moves were coming, I was off. So I wasn't trading at that point anymore. Really would have had to trade off the EMA clouds, maybe off some inside outside candles, but I thought this was just so choppy, a lot of wicks, a lot of fake outs, just didn't think this was a great play today. So we'll move on to Exxon. So this one gapped up above the call trigger. So I wasn't playing the call triggers here, right? We're like not touching these key levels all day. So how did I play this? Off this inside candle. So again, I know all my plays were on this today, which was, probably a mistake, but I was learning about it, wanted to play it, wanted to cut my teeth, School of Hard Knocks, the cost of learning here with some misplays. But we gap up, we have an inside candle. And again, I'm looking to break the top of it or the bottom. So this next candle, this green one right here is where I entered. We break the top of this inside candle and I'm buying, right? This candle breaks down, this candle breaks down, but it doesn't break the bottom of this. So I'm holding. Unfortunately, this one ripped up. I think I bought these for around 55 cents. At the top here, I was checking it was about 90 cents. So this was almost an 100% gain mover. Unfortunately, this pains me. I got stopped out on this candle. So as you can see, I bought the break of this. So I was buying right on this wick right here. Then this wick, I had my stop loss at break even. I didn't want a green trade to go red. So once we were up here, I was in the green. I didn't want it to go red and just have a hard flush. And all of a sudden, 10, 20% profits are just 10, 20% in the red. So I did set a stop loss and this wick went low enough to where you can see with this dotted line, it just about, I got stopped out at break even. Like this is just about where I bought it. Man, if I could have held, that would have been a huge mover, would have been a great trade. So it didn't pan out as well for me as it might have for someone else. But you know what? I read it well. I played it well. And I'm learning. I'll get better in the future. We'll ride this one out for 100% gains. But today was really just about, implementing a little inside outside bar trading. Not going to pretend like I'm an expert or anything, but the only way you're going to learn is by doing it. So lost out on Facebook and Square was right on the day, but I'll chalk it up to the cost of learning. So just going to get better every day. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. And we'll see you again tomorrow.